The following is a presentation of the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. Broadcasting from the campus of Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show is on the air. Your chance to hear from Liberty Women's Basketball head coach Carey Green comes your way on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. The Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show is presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Start banking with Freedom First today. The Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show is also brought to you by Carter Bank, Life Lived Full, Earthright Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. By Foster Fuels, providing reliable service for 100 years. Freedom Heating and Air, serving those who serve us. Carl Miller Realty, caring, competent, trusted advisors. Lynchburg Nissan, nobody beats our prices. Nobody. Sentry Exteriors, experience and quality you can trust. Schedule a free estimate at sentryexteriors.com. And by Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow.
The Hodges with 5 at the top of the arc. She dumps it inside to Smuda. Smuda scoops to the hoop and scores. Beautifully run offense by the Lady Flames.
Now let's talk Liberty Flames women's basketball. Here's your host, the voice of the Lady Flames, Jamie Hall.
Welcome into this week's Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show. My name's Jamie Hall, and we've got a great program ahead for you. We're going to talk to head coach Carey Green a little bit later on about the Flames 1-1 beginning in the Conference USA play. First, the victory at Western Kentucky and the loss at Middle Tennessee. And then we'll look ahead to the first 2 games of the Conference USA slate at home when the Flames will host Sam Houston and Louisiana Tech a little bit later on this week. But right now, we have Jordan Hodges with us. First of all, Jordan, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you, Jamie.
And Jordan, over the years, we've done quite a few of these interviews between the podcast and the after the game, post-game interviews after wins. So I'll be honest, I'm running out of things to ask you that's unique or different. So I'm going to give you carte blanche at the beginning. If there's something that you think of as we're going along here and you want to go off on a tangent, I mean, I'm famous for rabbit trails and tangents, so feel free to take us anywhere you want to go. And then the last few minutes of the show, we'll just turn it over, and it'll be your show, and you can ask me questions if you want to. So that's kind of the format today. It's very loose.
Yeah.
But I want to start with this. Well, first of all, how do you feel the season has gone right now? If you were grading the Lady Flames and grading yourself at the midterm, basically, now that we've just gotten into the second half of the year, what grade would you put on the team?
Maybe I would say I would say a B. I would say we're going in the right direction. I mean, B's are good, but you can always be better, right? So I would definitely give us a B, somewhere in that area. But I think we're on a good trajectory of being like where we want to be, which I think is a good thing at this moment. You don't want to be too high or too low. So I think we're right in that good sweet spot. We just have a lot of stuff to work on that, could be helpful for us in conference play.
How about yourself personally?
Personally, I'll give myself about the same grade. I definitely think I could do better, but I'm on my way. Doing better than what I started. I was in kind of a slump for a little while, and kind of got out of that. But just finding little things I need to work on, which is always something I could do better, like whether it's in practice or in a game or with my teammates. So I would definitely give myself like a B.
What's the first thing you look at when you get the most recent stats? Not necessarily during the game. Well, I mean, I guess during the game too, but I'm thinking more like the week's over and now the updated season stats come in. What's the first thing you look at for yourself?
For myself, it's turnovers, because I know those impact like the other team's points too. So I always try to limit my turnovers, especially as a point guard. I feel like all point guards can agree with me when they say they look at their turnovers first.
Right.
And then next thing I'm looking at is probably my assists, like how well I'm sharing the ball. And if those are aligning as they should, so I shouldn't have more turnovers than assists. So that's my usual first look at when I'm looking at a stat sheet.
Well, then I can tell you then things are moving in a good direction. And when you said slump, was that where you were saying, okay, things weren't going as well as I wanted at the beginning of the year? Was it mainly assist to turnover ratio? And because you were scoring points, you were hitting shots. Was it more about that aspect of your game?
Yeah, it was. That specifically was my biggest thing. I feel like I was in a slump because I usually feel like I have more assists. I mean, I was averaging, I think, almost like 5 or something like that last year, and I feel like I've been really low recently. But that and my shooting for a little while. But my shooting isn't my biggest. I would say it's been one of my biggest assets in my game, but it's not one of my biggest assets to the team as of right now. Like, I'm a floor general. I like to distribute the ball, but I can't obviously shoot the ball and make shots when I need to. And that was it. I was in a little bit of a slump then, but at the same time, my team was looking for me to be more of like that distributor and score when needed in my eyes. So
this team, though, overall is very unselfish. The number of assists, as far as the team numbers are concerned, is usually impressive. Now, you can often tell, and that's rebounds, Coach Green would say. That's the number one thing.
Yeah.
Look at rebounds first, and you can tell who won the game. But there's been some times that you guys have been fairly close, even in rebounds, or maybe even been ahead in rebounds, but lost the game, stuff like that. But if I look at assists, and the team has between 15 and 20 assists, I'm going, yeah, they've won this game. They got between 5 and 10 assists, yeah, they probably lost the game.
Right.
And we've seen a lot of really high-level assist games over the year. Would you assess the team that way? Can you be too unselfish sometimes, though?
yeah, I would say sometimes we can be too unselfish. I mean, we saw it in the Western Kentucky game. We had like a few shot clock violations because no one wanted to shoot the ball. But I think in other games we could be a little more unselfish, like in Middle Tennessee, and sharing the ball a little bit more. So I think it's definitely one of our strengths, like you said, and most times when we are sharing the ball and we have those like 15 to 20 assists a game, we're most likely winning that game along with rebounding, of course. But yeah, I definitely think that is the biggest strong suit in basketball, is sharing the ball with each other. And I think I just want to see us do that more as we go into this conference play, because it's going to be really beneficial, I feel like.
Now, I mentioned the fact that we've done a lot of these interviews. We've known each other for a long time, and there've been a couple after games, real talk, first half was terrible, and you guys turned it on in the second half, and you're the first to kind of step up and go, yeah, my first few games of this year, the number was putting up the numbers I wanted. It took me until middle of December to kind of get into a groove. So if we're going to be open and honest, I've got to tell you something. When you first got on campus and you were first starting, or first playing, I should say, and maybe not playing a whole lot that freshman year. Now, in fairness, you had two really good point guards ahead of you as far as Kennedy and AI too. Alyssa Iverson was on that team as well. So maybe it wasn't completely fair because a freshman coming in and you've got two more veteran players. Kennedy wasn't quite as old as Alyssa was, but still, ahead of you. I'll be honest, I was like, I wonder if this is going to work out. Like, I wonder if this is going to fit, if you're going to be a contributor.
Yeah.
And boy, you proved me absolutely wrong, because now flip it to 4 years later, and I'm having a conversation with Paul Carmody, and we're going, all right, because we had a lot of foul trouble the other day.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is the one player, like first player, top of the list, that you go, just cannot foul out of a game? We cannot afford to have her foul out of the game. And you were the first name on that list. So I just want to say that in 4 years' time, you have completely proven me wrong. Did you have any of those same doubts when you first got on campus?
I mean, it's always a doubt in your mind when you're not playing as much as you like. When you first get on campus, it's always a doubt, like, man, will I fit in here, like you said, and will I contribute something? But, I mean, a little bit of that kind of creeped in, but also the part of me that took over was this is a par for the course. Like, I have a process to go through, same as anybody else did. And I kind of had to put myself in a humble position and recognize that, like you said, there were veterans above me. There were people who knew a little bit more and understood the game a little bit more. So it was just a thing where it was a little hump you got to get over. I feel like all freshmen kind of have to. Some of them come in like Asia or like Avery, who play good minutes and get good time, but that's not always the case. Let's just be real. But, I mean, once I stayed in that process and continued to get myself better and continue to work and practice, I feel like that is what helped me to be where I am at now, because I didn't just coast along because I'm like, oh, I'm not playing, and I mean, it's whatever. Like, so I think that was pretty much how my thought process went. That's how I am being successful today, and that's really nice of Paul to say about me, me needing to be the person in there that shouldn't foul out. So that's a big compliment.
Yeah, well, no pressure on you as far as getting in any foul trouble the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Was a lot of that getting over the hump just gaining confidence and then maybe ball handling, because you move up from high school and the speed of the game is so much faster, and boy, it's easy to be in the game for 3 minutes at that point, and if the game's ahead of you, you can have 3 turnovers in well, forget 3 minutes, in 30 seconds you can have 3 turnovers. Bam, bam, bam. Is that part of like the maturation as you got more experienced?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the speed is totally different, and me pushing myself in practice and playing that speed did help me gain that confidence, because you're right. When you get in there as a freshman, you're like, man, you can watch it all you want and be like, oh, I can play that game. But it truly does move faster. But, a part of that maturity came from me going hard in practice and gaining that confidence to know I can play against the girls like my teammates, because that's basically who we play. Like, let's be real, in conference, it's a lot of the same style players. So that's what helped me gain that confidence and be able to actually play at that speed and at that level.
Have you been able to kind of help the freshmen, the younger, well, I shouldn't say just freshmen, but the younger guards that are kind of maybe going through some of those same types of speed issues as they transition either into the Division I game or from high school to Division I?
Yeah, I feel like me as well as other guards have been helpful to them, just honestly just going at them like really hard. Like, we don't cut them no slack. We don't give them no breaks, because no one did it for us, and at the end it helped us. So I think hopefully I am helping them in that way to be better and get up to that speed, because it does take a good few months to get accommodated and truly understand this is the entire game. Like, I can, in high school, let's be real, you can coast for the first 2 quarters and be like, all right, we're blowing the team out, just have fun. But no, in college it's 4 quarters you're going full speed. So yeah.
You mentioned Asia. Let's brag on her a little bit. What made her have that? I mean, she didn't really. I mean, she made some mistakes as a freshman, but she really looked older than she was the minute she stepped on campus and had a maturity, I guess. What about her game and what about her personally allowed her to kind of transition so fast?
Yeah, I think she just Asia, last year, as you know, we were lacking a few positions, and the one position that she was in with the 2 guard, I think she took pride in her role. And at first, I think it was a little bit of her little freshman hump to get over, but I think with us instilling confidence in her, and then also just her as a player knowing that she is a good player, I think that's what helped her step into that role so well. And she was able to help us because she is truly a good scorer and just a good player overall, defense as well. It's not just offense. So I think that's what really helped her step in and help us that year. And what was the other question you said?
Is it more about mentality, I guess? Did she just have the right mentality coming into her freshman year? It didn't take as long to get over that freshman hump?
Yeah, I think it definitely was mentality, because, I mean, we said it's up for grabs. I mean, we don't have as many numbers as we'd liked, and last year we didn't have as many people returning, well, not many people returning, but we didn't have as many veterans in that role. Like me, myself included, was very new to my role. So, I mean, her just stepping up and being yeah, I can do that, and that showed in her play, which I think was really good for us, and she's continuing to do it, which is really nice. And her personally, I mean, she gets to know all the girls on the team like anybody else, and gets close with them and gain that chemistry, which I think also helps her game on the court, because she's able to talk to these girls in a position of, let's just say, lower status in a way, because she's only a sophomore. So I think that's what really helped her to get where she is now, gaining that good chemistry and being able to talk to these girls as if she was a leader on this team. Well, she is one of our leaders, of course, but as if she was like you said, older than she is. So,
right, yeah. It's funny how some people can go through 4 years and they're just sort of timid and meek, and some can step on campus as a freshman and they feel like you have all the confidence in them, right off the bat.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to kind of go more off the court, and then we'll turn over the last few minutes of the show to Jordan, let her go wherever she wants with it. This is the Liberty Women's Basketball Show. Back with more after this.
Save big during Lynchburg Nissan's Model Year-End Sales Event. Get $8,200 off remaining Pathfinders in stock. Plus, every vehicle comes with our unbeatable 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. Stock is limited, so hurry into Lynchburg Nissan or shop 24/7 at lynchburgnissan.com.
What's important isn't that Freedom First has been in business since 1956. What's important is how we've been doing business since 1956. Since day one, we have been accountable to our members, not stockholders. We make loans that cost less, offer savings plans that pay more, and give back to our community, and that hasn't changed. What has changed is our ability to serve you with more locations and more technology to simplify your financial life. Freedom First. It's a place where anyone in our region can bank for good.
You're listening to the Liberty Women's Basketball Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Today's show will continue after this 1-minute timeout on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.
Turn up the heat. Foster Fuels is a proud partner of Liberty Athletics. Fostering warm moments for 100 years, Foster has been providing exceptional propane and gas services throughout Central Virginia and surrounding areas. From propane to fireplaces and tank installs to tankless water heaters, Foster does it all. Visit fosterfuels.com or download the app to order fuel, pay your bill, and more. Get the customer service you deserve and turn up the heat with Foster Fuels and the Liberty Flames.
Earthlight Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. With a focus on honesty, education, and excellence, they light the way to savings, home comfort, and a greener future. Educating homeowners about the power of solar and energy efficiency is their winning game plan. Give Earthlight Mid-Atlantic a call today at 434-200-9716 or visit erepower.com.
Lynchburg Nissan's Model Year End Sales Event is here. Take advantage of 0% financing for 60 months on Classy Rogue or save up to $6,500 on Frontiers. Pair these deals with our exclusive 1 million mile powertrain warranty. Visit Lynchburg Nissan today.
Into this week's Liberty Flames women's basketball show with Jordan Hodges. And Jordan, let's say one little off-court or basketball-related thing, because this has been a topic of conversation with other players on your team that love this, what I'm about to say. And if folks maybe haven't watched podcasts in the past, they may not know this story. But remind us of how you were given the number 0.
Oh, okay, that's a good story. So, AAU season, I'm not quite sure what year. It's been too long. I've been at AAU for a while. But my AAU coach, Coach Torrance Archie, he gave me the number 0, and I was like, 0? I was like, who wears 0? And he told me he gave it to me because he thinks 0 people could guard me. And ever since he told me that confidence kind of just instilled in me, and I was just like, wow, if somebody him who like always tells me all these good things and such a good mentor to me could tell me something like that, I should believe in myself. So ever since then, I just wore number 0, and I got to college. And even when I got to college, I wanted another number, but it didn't end up working out, obviously for good reason, because now I'm number 0, and it stuck with me, and now it's my nickname and everything with it. So.
And it was kind of following you around on that last road trip. I don't know if you noticed this, but even the soap and the shampoo in the bathroom of the hotel, the brand was 0. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah, no. It's an honor to wear the number, honestly.
Yeah, you need to get a little cut of that somehow. You go, hey, that's right? Mine. I got this trademarked.
I know. I got to use that NIL. I got to use that. I got to.
How has college athletics changed in your 4 years? You come in, COVID and all that stuff was just still, you're dealing with all that, and then now with the transfer portal and NIL, and I mean, you hear all this noise, and you're going to finish up your career at one school, which is getting rarer and rarer and rarer in college sports. So, and I don't want to use the word loyalty because everybody has their reasons for doing whatever they do. But how much has it changed?
I mean, like you said, coming in during COVID was really weird. I mean, stuff was so closed off. We were doing the trip. I don't know. It was really. I just came in a weird time because stuff wasn't as open. I mean, some games we had like barely anybody at our games. But now recently, these past 2 years, I would say it's opened back up. We see more fans. And like you said, the transfer portal is alive and active. I mean, people are always leaving for some reasons. But it's been really nice to be at one school. And even though I went through the struggles of my first 2 years with COVID and dealing with players leaving and some even of my really good friends entering the transfer portal, I mean, it's been pretty much steadfast for all 4 years, just being at a school where I have loving teammates. And, I wouldn't change anything, but it's definitely changed. I mean, with NIL, too, that's such a big thing. I didn't even know you could get cars just for playing basketball, but, I mean, we see people do that and, make up brand deals and stuff. It is pretty cool, though. That is the thing I would say, and I hope more people do take advantage of it. But I'm saying that as I don't do NIL. But, I'm saying, if you have a really big name image, it's pretty cool, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, we don't want to turn this into a sports talk show, but probably do need to have some there needs to be more rules. Like right now, there's no real. It's just wild. You can
pretty much do anything.
Do whatever you want now, and it doesn't necessarily mean by me saying that I'm saying that you guys shouldn't get paid or get benefits or get the things that you deserve.
Yeah.
It's just right now, even you yourself, you probably go into this and go, well, what do I do? Like, what, what's the structure? What can I do? What can I do? And especially when you get to the football side of things, and there's millions of dollars getting thrown around, and maybe this same conversation with the next freshman that comes in next year, 5 years from now, when it's their senior year, we might be talking about, you're under a 2-year contract. You've got 2 years left on your deal. Then you could look at, then you're a free agent. And
it's starting to transform into professionals.
You were traded in from, you used to play out west and you got traded here. You're like, who knows what it's going to be in 4 or 5 years. And I got a feeling there probably will be contracts, and there probably will be, I don't know about trades, that because of the academic side of it, that makes that a little bit complicated. But could you imagine that though?
I know, right?
Like halfway through your junior year, and the coach comes in and says, you've been playing pretty good for us, but we really needed a post, so we've traded you to UCLA.
That'd be crazy.
How crazy would that be?
I would just hope it's a school that got good money. If I did get traded.
So what are some things that when you are watching sports or watching the headlines or watching the news, like what are some things that kind of have caught your attention lately?
I mostly just watch women's sports, women's basketball, but the headlines with football have been catching my eye recently just because they, like you said, they have all the NIL stuff and all the stuff I didn't even know you could get, and people's revenue going up when they enter the transfer portal, which I didn't even know that was a thing, but that's pretty much caught my eye recently. I don't know about anything else in sports. I just like watching women's basketball, like who's doing well in other conferences and stuff like that.
So if we need like a breakdown of who's the top 10 teams in the country, you're going to have a pretty good idea. You can tell us, South Carolina's playing well and this team's playing well. You know what's going on.
Honestly, I would say a few of them I don't know much because I don't always catch their games. But if you show me the top 10 list, I could definitely tell you they've been playing well, or they just got beat by this person and they were supposed to win, stuff like that. So
okay, well that leads me into this question. I know we've talked about this before, so we're just kind of reminding maybe some of the folks that haven't seen you talk about it. What is your career goals once basketball is done?
Well, I don't have a specific thing I want to do, but I'd love to work with children or anybody in sports, really. That's really my career goal because I am a sports psychology major, but I do love the mental health aspect of that. So it's not just me being a coach or me being tied down specifically to sports, but I also want to just come in contact with people and talk to them about how mental health can be seen within sports and how we can deal with things and the pressures of sports. So I don't know where that will take me yet. God got that in his hands, but I truly do want to touch people in a different way that, so coaches, for example, are supposed to teach you the way and teach you how to do things and, get you prepared for games. But I want to be that person who's could also be a coach and be that person to be hey, you're going through this. I see you're dealing with this. I want to be helpful to you in this way and just be that helping hand alongside of maybe a coach or even in the position of a coach.
It's almost like a sports guidance counselor.
Yeah, in a way, if you honestly put it that way, yeah. And it's not really a thing, you don't hear much of that, but I would love for that to start being a thing because I think it's I think it could be a good thing for athletes.
It does seem like there's more recognition of it as far as Mental Health Awareness Month, and we've nice. Even saw just recently, I think one of the teams that we played was wearing the yellow shirts before a game because of that same thing. So is it getting better?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think back then we used to, not even back then because I wasn't in that era, but you didn't used to see people wearing the shirts and bringing awareness to being wearing green today for mental health awareness. You know what I'm saying? We didn't used to see that type of recognition. And I think it's good because it shows to fans us in sports, we don't just care about the sport ourselves, and it also doesn't identify us as a whole person, but we see like people who deal with mental health. We see people who deal with cancer. We do the breast cancer games with Pink. It's bringing awareness to these things and showing that we also care for them through a sport that so many people love, because maybe some of them have come to just see the sport, but they now realize, man, these people are, I look up to these girls and look at them like talking about mental health and stuff. I want to be like them. So it kind of just instills that like model figure, which I like, because it also brings awareness to people who may not even know about this stuff. Like, let's be real. Some people come to watch sports just to watch sports. Right. They don't know nothing else. But, like, I think it's a good thing to bring recognition to these causes and diseases and whatever else. So,
when we were in the break, you said, I'm not really sure what direction that I'm going to go here with this freestyle, but I think we went in a pretty good direction. That's not a bad way to finish up the program, and I hopefully you have a great career, and maybe not just have a great career, but maybe trailblaze and come up with a position, maybe even right here at Liberty. I mean, let's not get rid of you, kids. Just hang around. Go play a little professional basketball if you want to, and then come back, and maybe you can be the one that starts a whole department here. That'd be awesome.
That would be nice. Yeah.
George, it's always fun to catch up with you, and we wish you nothing but the best the rest of this season and is wherever life leads you.
Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate you having me.
We'll be back with Coach Carey Green right after this here on the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show.
At Carter Bank, we believe life is best lived full of opportunities and dreams, of goals achieved and promises kept. We've been creating opportunities for more people and businesses to prosper since 1974. That means great local lending, convenient access to your money, accounts and guidance that make it easier to get more done. We are Carter Bank, the preferred community bank of Liberty Flames Athletics. Visit carterbank.com to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Curious about the Central Virginia housing market? Carl Miller Realty are your caring, competent, trusted advisors for real estate sales in Central Virginia. With over 100 years of combined experience, they are committed to helping clients make informed housing decisions. For a winning game plan and to discover the value of your home, visit carlmillerrealty.com to make your next move a slam dunk.
You're listening to the Liberty Women's Basketball Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Today's show will continue after this 1-minute timeout on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.
Thompson Brooks Insurance has been serving Virginia for over 40 years, helping individuals and businesses with their insurance and investment needs. The team at Thompson Brooks is experienced in understanding life and health insurance, Medicare, and retirement planning. Thompson Brooks Insurance can be reached at 434-385-8500 or online at thompsonbrooksinsurance.com. Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow.
Century Exteriors offers exterior home renovations, including but not limited to gutters, roofing, siding, home additions, and much more. Century Exteriors makes the process seamless. Call 434-239-6722 for a free on-site estimate or visit centuryexteriors.com and Century Exteriors on Facebook and Instagram. Century Exteriors is a proud supporter of Liberty Flames Athletics.
Welcome back into the show. We're now joined by head coach Carey Green. And before we talk to Coach Green, I do want to give a little bit of a shout out to Paul Carmody. His name came up earlier in the show. And for those that don't know who Paul is or what Paul does, Paul is the one who puts together the game notes and makes me sound a lot smarter than I really am, and then is also given all the little tidbits to not just the media but to the coaches and keeps everybody kind of straight. He's even there to say how many timeouts you've got left whenever that question is asked on the sideline. So Paul does a great job of kind of getting all the information for me and for Coach, and so we want to thank him. His name kind of popped up when we were talking to Jordan Hodges, but I didn't really explain who he was. So shout out to Paul Carmody and the website, all the information that's on there, the game stories and the previews and the notes. Those are all Paul's work, and he'll be putting out game notes for these coming games with Sam Houston State on Thursday and then Louisiana Tech on Saturday. So you can look for his content on libertyflames.com. Jumping back, Liberty is coming off of their first conference series of the year. Basically everything this season, except when you play your travel partner, will be a Thursday, Saturday on the road or at home. The one exception is when the Flames play FIU, because then if you're playing your travel partner, there's nobody else to play that week. So then they would just be a single game on a Saturday at either home or away. So that's kind of how things fall into place. The season started out at Western Kentucky and then at Middle Tennessee State, two of the toughest places to play in Conference USA. And as we bring in Coach Green, not just the toughest places to play in Conference USA, these are two programs that are traditional women's basketball powerhouses. We're talking Sweet 16s and Final Fours and championship games over the years. No favors were done in sending you on that trip to start the year, but I guess the good news is you'll finish up the year getting those two teams at home, so that'll be nice. I guess right before the tournament starts, you get a couple of home games against those squads. But yeah, no favors to have to go to those two places to begin the year.
Yeah, Jamie, let me back up. You mentioned something about Paul Carmody. He's a Hall of Famer. Both of us have been working with him for years, and he does an outstanding job. Western Kentucky on the road early, and we finished the season, I think, with them. So we play a whole conference season at the front end and the back end playing them. Had a historic, traditional championship-type team. And then we'd follow up with Middle Tennessee. And I would say historically in the Conference USA, you have to look at Louisiana Tech, Western Kentucky, and Middle Tennessee recently been very dominating in the conference. So that's how we open up. We 3 out of our first 4 games are against those 3 teams, and we're fortunate to have Sam Houston State coming in first, and then we have La Tech on Saturday. But those are big challenges that we have early in the season to be tested, and certainly if throughout each of those games we ought to be learning, regardless if we win or lose, and continue that journey for March Madness.
When we take a quick look at the standings, I know it's early in the year, but Louisiana Tech 2-0 to begin the year, as Middle Tennessee State is as well. And then Sam Houston lost their first 2 games, so kind of a tough start for Sam Houston, but a solid start for Louisiana Tech. I guess let's look forward, and then we'll take a look back as far as the games over the weekend. Sam Houston comes in, they're kind of hungry for a win. Louisiana Tech, they're kind of riding a high, and they'll be traveling in from Florida to get to this game. So a little bit of a tough, I guess we can't complain too much. That is, anybody who's playing that Liberty Florida International swing on a weekend has got some pretty good complaints as well, because they're in southern Florida, and then they've got to figure out a way to get to Lynchburg by Saturday. So that's kind of a tough run for Louisiana Tech as well. But first, let's start with Sam Houston. As you guys are getting prepared for them this week, even though 2 losses, they came really close to picking up a win in their second game. So they're not playing terrible basketball. Got a winning record.
No, they've had a good start this year. They started like 6-3 and had some quality wins, and they've almost got a whole new team from last year. I think only 2 players returning, so there's a lot of enthusiasm and energy there. They're well coached, and they put a lot of pressure on you. Their style hasn't changed. They're typically a pressing, man-to-man, run and jump, trying to put you in a panic mode and just physically beat you up. That's their style of play. They're fearless. I think they average about 18 offensive rebounds a game, and we may have a height advantage, but they're quick to the ball, and they're aggressive, and as you said, they'll be hungry for a win, and we got to be prepared for it.
That second game that I was mentioning was the game against UTEP. They only lost by 2 points. A little bit tougher loss when they played New Mexico State, both those games at Sam Houston over the weekend. So, but the second of the 2 games was the narrow defeat against UTEP. So I guess they've got a little bit of confidence coming in. How would you say, for the fans that are coming out on Thursday night, not necessarily specific player-on-player matchups, but is offensive, defensive rebounding, is that the matchup that we should be keeping our eye on?
Well, I think their aggressiveness and their energy is probably going to determine how we're going to do on the offensive end or how we're going to do on the defensive end because they're so aggressive. I think they shoot about 25 free throws a game, too. And I think we only shot 11 free throws against Middle Tennessee. And that just shows you how aggressive they are. How are we going to sustain their energy? Are they going to put us in a panic mode? Are we going to move the ball well? We better move it quickly because they are very quick. How are we going to handle their speed and just spread the floor and execute and just stay disciplined within our offenses and our defenses because they're going to try to put you in a chaotic mode and where they're really successful and using their speed. Are we going to be disciplined enough to do that? That's going to be a key. And matching their energy. Again, they're going to. They played like this last year, and we really struggled at their place. We just barely came alive in the last 4 or 5 minutes to win down at their place. So they're going to come in and once again, disappointed in a loss, but hungry, and it was close. They're going to be hungry when they come in. We got to be prepared.
Second game is Louisiana Tech on Saturday. They're 9-4 overall in the year. They won their first 2 conference games. It will be an interesting thing to see at the end of the year. We're talking about how tough it can be, that second game of a road swing, especially if it's a team like Middle Tennessee, which we'll get to that here in a moment. When you guys opened up the conference on the road, in their case, it's the travel coming from Florida to here. There's a few places where it's not too bad of a trip. If you're at New Mexico State, going back and forth with UTEP isn't too bad, 45-minute drive, hour drive, something like that. So that's not too bad. But there are other places where you're having to get on an airplane and go to the next game. So we'll revisit this in March and see what the record is of teams in the second game on the road in Conference USA this year. And I'm going to bet it's like 25%. When it's all said and done, I'd be shocked if the visiting team in the second game of the back-to-back is going to be better than 25%. But what does Louisiana Tech pose? They've obviously had a great start to their season as well.
Yeah, they've had a lot of turnover, and hopefully, you look at Middle, look at Western, look at Liberty. Either of these teams had a lot of turnover. So we have some experiences coming in. You have Sam Houston, who had a lot of turnover, and La Tech had a lot of turnover as well. Some graduating people, somebody hit the transfer portal. So they're coming in searching for identity, and they're well coached as well. So disciplined, they execute things at a high efficiency level. And there's a lot of new energy there. Sometimes I think the enthusiasm and energy is as critical as what you're doing. It's like you have the potential to be something, but you have to perform it and you have to make it work. Recently, the beginning of their season, they've been very successful with 4 losses, and 2-0. In the conference. So they have a lot of confidence. I am glad they're playing at FIU, and I'm glad that first, and then they have that travel coming here because FIU is a very good team. When you looked at our last 2 games apiece, the outcomes were similar, and so it's going to be a battle when we play FIU because they're shorthanded right now. They've got a couple players out that can really help them, and yet they took a win off of Western Kentucky as well. So it's going to be interesting, as you were saying, how the entire conference goes on the road. But, everybody's doing it. I shouldn't be complaining. And I'm not. It's just what we're dealing with. And if you could steal wins and secure home victories, you're doing very well for the seeding going in. But it's not like Stanford coming to Virginia Tech or Clemson going to Stanford or Cal Berkeley or someplace like that, which they're doing all the time now. That's brutal. That's brutal. And especially if you have to, if you had to go back home and then turn around, come back and forth, you definitely want travel partners. So unfortunately, the landscape of college athletics is getting a little crazy in every area. You know, the conferences and transfer portals, it's evolving, and it's not looking real pretty. It's interesting, but it's not looking real pretty, and the cost is probably certainly higher, and but revenue with TV and how marketing and branding is going, you got to be really sharp. And I'm changing the subject, but I felt like our administration, our support, the university is second to none. And our leadership, senior leadership in the athletic department and at the university is outstanding.
Let's jump back to that Western Kentucky game. Open up the season out in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Get a win. The final score 77-66, but it was really a closer game than that would indicate. 11-point victory. It was you trailing early, and then was up 14-13 after the first quarter, up by 3 at halftime, up by 5 after the third, and then you were able to kind of put the game away late in the fourth quarter. What's some things that stand out in your mind from that game?
Well, I'm glad we were more consistent in that game probably than we've had probably throughout the season, and won every quarter, even if it was by a slim margin. But as the game went, and you're right, they started off and hit three threes and scored like 4 out of the first 5 times down the floor, and we was able to sustain that and fight back and claw back and just take a 1-point lead. That was outstanding after they've already got us 9-2 or 9-11, and for us to battle back. I felt like our defense in the fourth quarter and our rebounded in the third and fourth quarter, especially the fourth quarter, was what separated us.
In that game, Emma Hess kind of broke out of a little bit of a, we don't want to use the S word, but slump. You know, just she kind of hit some shots, and she told us after the game that you had given her a book to read over the Christmas holiday, and she felt like that might have helped a little bit.
Yeah, it's, you know, we're searching, and myself, I want to live a life of learning, and not just get caught up in progress in our lives. Usually require change, and it was a book a real simple book that I even given my grandchildren, and it's just to release or take the mental break off of some things that you may be thinking, and get the stinking thinking out of your head. And simple. She said she read it. It took me about 3 days. It took her 30 minutes to read the book. And it's a psychological book, and sports psychology, and real simple. And we've had several players, and it's a great book. And it's, I think the title, did she tell you the title?
No.
Read this book tonight and win tomorrow. And
nice.
But she basically did that, you know, and played much looser, and didn't jam her head up, because sometimes it is nothing but a psychological game. Her shot hasn't changed or anything like that, and we sort of we have some dips in our lives sometimes, and sometimes it's in the game of sports.
She finished up with 16 points to lead the team in that game. Fast forward 2 days, you go to Murfreesboro, and didn't turn out the way you wanted it there, a 69-41 loss. And we talked about coming in, maybe how Middle Tennessee's defense nationally isn't given as much credit as it should. They, over the course of that weekend, held both teams that they played in the 40s.
Yeah, I just didn't, in that particular game, let's don't overstate it. You got to make shots. We had shots. We just didn't make. We shot 20% from three-point range and under 40, I think 37% from the field or something like that. It wasn't good, and you got to make shots. When you look at that, Middle Tennessee shot poorly too. I think they shot like 37 and 30%, something like that. We had an opportunity, but we got out-rebounded. We turned the ball over too many times and didn't make shots. And those are not good combinations. And we just got to shoot the ball better. And you can give them credit. I will give them credit. They got after us on the defensive end, but we just didn't handle it as well as I wanted to handle it. And it was a lesson for us to learn. And there's some things that we needed to understand and be confident as we play because, you have a good team like Toledo or Tennessee or a Duke, and we competed with those teams and came out on the short end with losses, but we learned from that, and we'll learn from the game at Middle Tennessee. It's making no excuses. They're good. We didn't play well. We missed shots. And you got to make shots, and you got to defend and rebound. And we weren't successful. And they had two players that really played well. Actually, when you break it down, two players beat us. Two players got 49. We scored 41 points. And bench did well. We got 19 points from the bench to their team 0. But that's their style of play. They go with their starters, and 3 of them had 40 minutes of playing time. And previous game, 3 of them fouled out. So it's interesting. You can't remove the stripes from a tiger or the spots from a leopard. You just wonder, the styles of play and the different teams. And but we've got to be better.
Well, Kim Reeves Bruton is probably going to give me a hard time because I actually shorted them a little bit. They held FIU to 38 points in the game on Thursday night. I said in the 40s, but fun seeing her. I mean, I know she's on the opposition and she's the enemy right now, but it's always nice to see a familiar face on the road.
Yeah, she's a Liberty graduate, and if it's not for Middle Tennessee, she's probably pulling for Liberty.
Yeah, so, she came over and gave me a hug before the game. I said we got to be careful. We don't want to mess up each other's hair because she's probably got the best hair. And I'm not trying to put myself in the same category as her. I just didn't want to mess up her hair because she's always even going back to her playing days and those team photos. She always had to be right on top of things, and I think that comes from her mama. But friendliness aside, what's it going to take next time around when Middle Tennessee State comes here, or maybe your roads clash in the tournament again? What's it going to take to beat them?
Well, we've got to be mentally tougher and got to make some shots. I think we'll be better prepared. We should be better prepared the second time around. We played pretty bad, and we got to give them credit. And it's control the things we can, and that's our mental aspect and our toughness, and just make shots. And typically you make more shots at home than you would on the road. So we'll just see how it turns out.
Well, Coach, last thing for you as we head into this first home stand as far as Conference USA is concerned with Sam Houston and then Louisiana Tech, those Liberty faithful have come through huge all year long. The number of games where the attendance is 1,000 or more has that been outstanding, and they really make a big difference to you and your girls.
Yeah, certainly. I think we have a product or a team that our fans will just fall in love with. I love our team. It's high character, and their focus is on eternal values, and they're not going to be sidetracked by temporal things and the sparkle and the fizz of the world. They're solid, young women of character, and we're grateful to have them here. And they've really deserved and earned the respect from our community and Flames Nation, and we love the attendance that we've had, and we certainly encourage everyone to come back out and root for and pull for and fan the Flames, and continue to set some attendance records for us. And the arena is a very enjoyable and exciting arena to play in, and if you haven't been, I mean, that's worth it as well. So it's a great entertainment and a great opportunity to pull for and fan the Flames and lift our girls up, be encouragers as we miss some shots every now and then. And we just wanted to glorify God, and if you could come out the entire season, we'd love to have you to encourage us and for us to honor and glorify God with our efforts.
Starts on Thursday, 7 o'clock. That's the game against Sam Houston. And then Saturday afternoon at 2 when Louisiana Tech makes their way up from Florida to play. I say that sounded weird. If somebody just tuned into the last portion there, they're playing Florida International. They're based out of Louisiana, but they're playing. They're really just taking the coast. They're taking the Gulf Coast to fly across to get to Miami, and then flying up the eastern seaboard to get here. So, be fun to see kind of how they come out of the gates. Sometimes, though, Coach, over the years we've seen teams that should be tired, and that you go, boy, they got to be road weary, and they come out of the gates with a second wind and just running up and down the court, and maybe it hits them at halftime, but they're flying all over the place. So we don't want to. I definitely don't want to be locker room material for Louisiana Tech. We go, oh, well, we'll show them. We're going to come out of the gates in a hurry. But should be a couple of fun games this weekend.
Yeah, they're very talented, both teams, and everybody's hungry for victories now, and they know how important it is to win games, for the seeding.
Coach, appreciate your time. Wish you the best, and we'll see you out there at the arena on Thursday night.
Thank you, Jamie.
As I said, Coach Carey Green, that's going to wrap up this week's Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show. If you'd like tickets to those games, go to libertyflames.com. If you can't make it out and you want to follow on TV or on the radio or just read those Paul Carmody stories that we were talking about, you can also do that at libertyflames.com. Until we talk again, this is Jamie Hall saying so long and God bless.
You've been listening to the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Radio Show with head coach Carey Green. Today's show has been presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Start banking with Freedom First today. The Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show has also been brought to you by Carter Bank, Life Lived Full, Earthright Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. By Foster Fuels, providing reliable service for 100 years. Freedom Heating and Air, serving those who serve us. Carl Miller Realty, caring, competent, trusted advisors. Lynchburg Nissan, nobody beats our prices. Nobody. Century Exteriors, experience and quality you can trust. Schedule a free estimate at centuryexteriors.com. And by Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow. Liberty Flames Basketball is an exclusive presentation of the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.